I'm a little worried, Luna said, her face flushing, though being this close to him made her feel incredibly secure. I'm afraid I'll mess it up. Don't be. You got me, Cole said. Anything you don't understand, just ask. I'll hire an accountant to handle the heavy stuff, and you'll just manage payroll based on their reports. By the time you're sophomore or junior, you'll have it all down. Okay. Luna was still taking foundational courses, but Cole had no doubt her meticulous nature was perfect for tracking expenses and payments. It was almost 10 o'clock at night, and the campus greenway was still busy with students passing by in both directions. Luna, dressed neatly with a tall, elegant posture, drew more than a few glances. That, Cole. Luna suddenly realized she'd never really known what to call him. Calling him just Cole felt a little distant, and she didn't like that. Mr. Chun. That was even worse, colder. Her heart rejected it completely. What's up? Her hesitation didn't escape him. The moment he heard her say his name, he understood. He tightened his arm around her waist, pulling her flush against him, and whispered in her ear, You can call me whatever you want. Cole. Or brother. Whatever feels right. Unlike with Jasmine, he would never ask this girl, who'd lost her father so young, to use one of those other pet names. For her, it would be hurtful, not playful. As for Jasmine, she could call him whatever she wanted, Cole, or that jerk, or just yell his name. It was their thing. Pressed so tightly against him, Luna was no longer as shy as she had been at first. It felt comfortable. Her head swam a little. Seeing her blush so deeply, Cole felt a familiar itch. He leaned back in, deliberately teasing. You don't want to call me brother? Fine then. How about Mr. Chun? Luna wasn't stupid. She knew he was teasing her. She didn't dare turn her head, knowing their lips would touch if she did. The tickling warmth on her earlobe made her want to flinch away, but another part of her wanted to stay right where she was. Cole straightened his face, pressing his ear to her lips. Come on, Lou. Let me hear you say Mr. Chun. A moment later, a warm breath washed over his ear, followed by a soft, girlish voice. Brother. Perfect. A wave of pure satisfaction rolled through Cole. He couldn't help but pull her even tighter. He scanned the area, a flicker of annoyance for Eastwood University's planning committee crossing his mind. This whole beautiful greenway, and not a single bench in sight. It was illogical. It was too cold to sit on the grass. What were you going to say before, Lou? He asked. It's just that girl who came in today. She's been to the shop a bunch of times when you weren't there. Luna couldn't hold it back any longer. She tilted her head to look at his profile, an unreadable light flickering in her eyes. For a girl from rural West Virginia, the word brother carried a special weight. It wasn't just a word. It was a promise. Just ignore her, Cole said dismissively. If she buys a tea, she's a customer. Anything else doesn't matter. As he spoke, he reached over with his left hand and took hers. Her small hand rested in his palm, letting him gently knead it. It was a little cool to the touch and slightly rougher than Jasmine's or Serena's, but still soft. They had just passed under a large oak tree, its canopy blocking the lamplight, with the nearest passers-by a good distance away. Are you cold? Cole asked, a roguish thought entering his mind as he put on a show of concern, lifting her hand to his cheek. I'm okay. Not cold. Luna kept her eyes fixed on the path ahead, pretending to be focused. He had put his arm around her waist countless times, but this was the first time he had ever held her hand. Cole sniffed the back of her hand, the faint, clean scent intoxicating him. He couldn't resist. He leaned in and planted 2 soft kisses on her skin. In the dim light, Luna bit her lip and lowered her head, a blush painting her cheeks. Cole leaned back to her ear and whispered another useless phrase, Good that you're not cold. Then he revealed his true, shameless intentions, pressing a soft kiss right below her earlobe. The girl in his arms trembled, letting out a startled little MMPH, but she didn't pull away. He kissed her again, and again. A little chilly. Needs more warming up. She was so fragrant, so soft. Cole's mind started to get fuzzy. His intrusive thoughts were like a drunkard at a party. Yeah, that's it. Go for the lips next. His better nature roared back. Shameless. Get away from her mouth. Cole, ever the fair and just referee, smacked them both down. The ear was fine. The mouth was off limits. It would ruin his grand strategy. Luna's eyes were half closed, her heart pounding in her chest. Her whole body felt weak, her ear both tingling and yet feeling wonderfully cared for. She saw people approaching from the opposite direction, and a wave of shyness washed over her. But she couldn't bring herself to push him away. The comfort came from affection, and what she craved most was the sense of security that this intimacy brought, a feeling that the road ahead was warm and safe. Finally, he stopped. Luna lowered her gaze, trying to steady her breathing. It was the first time in her life she had ever experienced such continuous, tender contact. Her head was spinning, 1,000 thoughts racing through her mind. Being close to someone you liked was a profound experience. She accepted it gladly, even hoped for more. She wanted this life, full and cherished, to last forever. The greenway was long, and usually the walk felt tiring. But right now, she wished it would never end. Cole let go of her waist and took her hand instead, gently lacing his fingers through hers. He immediately got a response. Her small hand tightened, locking with his. Excellent. A two-way street, Cole thought, deeply satisfied. As much as he wanted to test the waters, to see just how deep they ran, he held himself back. With Luna, he had to take it slow, one step at a time. She was different from Jasmine or Serena. Her pride was a delicate thing. Pushing too hard would make her feel insecure. Cole admitted he was a horny bastard, but what was wrong with that? He had no desire to be a gentleman. He'd been a gentleman his entire last life, and he'd lived like a damn fool. It was only after he'd been broken, after he'd become cold and calculating, that he'd seen so many other gentlemen like his former self. His colleagues, his friends, not a single one of them had a happy ending. Girls didn't need a gentleman, not really. A little respect was fine, but most of them secretly hoped you'd be a little more aggressive. The ones who said they wanted a gentleman were really just saying, wait until I give you the signal. Being a gentleman only brought useless vanity and a mountain of regret. Cole figured that since he'd come this far, he might as well be open about it and take care of her properly. The only time it became meaningless was if the other person wasn't willing. But if there was a connection, a bond, and a willingness, then he would never, ever let go. He wasn't some virtuous sage who spouted morality while letting the women in his life slip away. He savored the soft, warm fragrance of the girl beside him all the way to her dorm. After she went inside, Luna walked up to the 6th floor and, out of habit, looked out the window for his departing figure, watching until he disappeared behind a building. Wait, you're not working at the Tea Alchemist anymore? Brianna asked, shocked, after Luna told her about Cole's new arrangement. I'll still be there, just maybe not as much, Luna answered, a bit distracted. Her ear still seemed to be tingling. But what am I going to do all alone? Brianna moaned, her expression full of theatrical despair. Felicity, however, smelled an opportunity. She hopped down from her bunk and sat next to Luna. So, does this mean you're his head of finance now? His CFO? I'm just in charge of payroll and expense reports, Luna said, a little embarrassed. Girl, my future is in your hands. Felicity threw her arms around Luna's shoulders, bouncing with excitement. She hadn't rushed to find a part-time job, wanting to focus on her major first and find a good career later. Now, with a connection like Luna, how could she not find a great job? Hadn't everyone seen that Luna and Brianna's wages were way above the norm? Brianna's brain finally caught up. She was a business major too. She wasn't going to be making tea forever. Her sister's man already had 2 companies, and maybe there would be more later. He'd definitely need a few finance people. If she stuck close to Luna, she'd be set. The other 3 roommates were out with their boyfriends, so the 3 of them could talk freely, excitedly discussing how Luna should approach her new job. The next morning, Cole took Luna to the Student Venture Lab on the 15th floor of the business school. I'm a little scared, Luna said, looking up at him with anxious eyes as they stood at the base of the building. Don't be. They're all great people, and there are a bunch of upperclassmen girls there, Cole reassured her. Okay. Luna mustered her courage and nodded. If Cole said they were good people, then they must be. Starting today, you're the finance manager for Headline Today and the Tea Alchemist. They're all counting on you, Cole said with a grin. Come on, let's go upstairs and you can start counting our money in a whole new way. The phrase, our money, made Luna's heart skip a beat. For some reason, she felt a lot more relaxed. Okay, she said. They went up to Suite 1502. The 4 people from the content moderation team in 1503 came over as well. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Luna, Cole announced. She's a freshman in the accounting program here at Eastwood, and she'll be our company's new finance manager. From now on, payroll and reimbursements go through her. Perhaps because they were already used to the impossibly beautiful acting CEO, Jasmine, the team wasn't completely stunned by the sight of the lovely new finance manager. But they were still a little shocked. Is the boss a collector of beautiful women? The news that the acting CEO, Jasmine, was Cole's older sister had already spread. But now he'd added another top-tier beauty to the team. Where did he find these people? Hi everyone, my name is Luna. It was the first time in her life she'd faced a situation like this, and her heart was pounding like a drum. Thank God Cole was by her side, where she might have had the urge to turn and flee. The office erupted in warm applause. Yvonne, who was in the office training new promoters, immediately came over with a welcoming smile. "Hey, freshman, come sit with me." One of the guys from the editorial team had called in sick with a stomach ache, so she was using his desk to work on her training materials. Cole gave her a silent nod of approval. Yvonne had serious potential. He'd have to promote her. As one of the first employees, Wyatt stood up and introduced himself, followed by Jenna, and then the others one by one. Their friendly warmth helped Luna relax, and she gradually began to feel at ease. Cole pulled out his phone and sent a message to Jasmine. He had to do this before adding Luna to the company group chat. "Cole, sis, I found a finance manager for the company. She's an accounting major who was working at the tea shop. I'll introduce you when you have time." 2 minutes later, Jasmine replied. "Jasmine, is it the tall one?" "Huh?" Cole was stunned. How did she know? Had she seen them? "Cole, yes, sis. The tallest one at the shop. She's from rural West Virginia. Her dad passed away when she was young, and her mom remarried early on. She's a really good person." He wasn't going to hide anything. In fact, explaining Luna's background would only make his kind-hearted sister more accepting. Of course, he had his own little calculations. If this step went well, the road ahead was bright. "Jasmine, okay, I get it." Over at Eastwood Tech, Jasmine looked at the message on her phone, her eyes thoughtful as she walked to class. She believed what her brother said. There was no reason for him to lie about something like this. It was a shame she wasn't an accounting expert, or she would have been the perfect person to watch over his finances. Her expertise was in corporate strategy, organization, marketing, management. She'd never touched accounting. The original plan had been for her dad, their stepdad, to retire, and his right-hand man could help Cole for at least another 10 years. Then Cole would study finance and take over. But then her brother had suddenly changed, becoming incredibly driven, so she'd let him choose his own path. She felt a warmth spread through her chest. The fact that he'd explained all this to her was deeply satisfying. It meant he truly valued her and her opinion. After thinking for a moment, she sent another message. "Jasmine, Cole, I'm heading to class, and I have to go to the library after. Log into my Facebook account. There's a file in my email drafts called Employee Info. Send it to her. It has everyone's details and bank accounts." "Cole, got it, sis." A moment later, he received the password, J2C0318. It had never changed. He'd known it for years, but had never once used it. Today, he'd brought his laptop, which he planned to give to Luna. He took it into the small conference room and logged into Jasmine's Facebook account. He found the file in her email drafts and forwarded it to Luna's address. He was about to log out when his eyes caught the little star icon for her photo albums. He remembered there was a locked album. What could it be? Private photos? Curiosity flared, hot and insistent, and he couldn't suppress it. He clicked. He didn't look at anything else, heading straight for the locked album. The moment it opened, he froze. They weren't private photos. They were photos of him and his sister. They were from right after he'd started high school. Jasmine had taken him out to celebrate, and they'd taken a ton of pictures with her digital camera. They were all here. The Jasmine in the photos was still so young, her face full of innocent joy as she leaned on his shoulder, smiling brilliantly. Cole scrolled through every single one before silently closing the album, his heart filled with 1,000 emotions. They'd printed a few of them back then, and they'd sat on his desk in his room. He never thought she'd kept them all. He clicked over to her timeline. Her public posts were visible to everyone. He scrolled down casually, about to close the tab, when his eyes caught something different. A private post, visible only to her. The date was October 25th. "Cole brought me to the apartment he bought. I was so shocked. He touched me again, and he kissed me. I was so angry, but I was so happy. I bit him. It felt so good." Cole winced in embarrassment. "She wrote that down, too? It felt good for you, but it hurt me." He scrolled further down, past a few posts about her dance team. Then another private post appeared. "I went biking with Cole at North Lake. His hands were all over me. I was so angry, but I was so happy. He's so possessive. He said he would take care of me. I'm not angry. I'm so happy." Cole was speechless. "Sis, you write down everything." He kept scrolling. After a long string of mundane, public posts, he found a third one. This was from the summer, on the night of his graduation party. Cole got a 630, "I'm so happy. But he was bad and touched my butt. I was so angry, but I was so happy." What? Cole's face burned. It was a highlight reel of all his misdeeds. He kept scrolling down, but found no more private posts for a long time. Finally, after scrolling back another 6 months, one appeared. "Cole isn't really talking to me. He doesn't text back. I feel so sad, I want to cry. He's grown up. He doesn't need me anymore." Crying emoji. A sharp pain lanced through Cole's chest, and his eyes began to sting. It was all his fault. He'd been so stupid. When they were too close, he'd taken her for granted and had simply been oblivious. He scrolled back another 6 months. Cole doesn't text me back much. Maybe he's stressed with school. I try to wake him up, but he won't listen. He won't even let me bite him. I'm so sad. He forgot about our movie date, too. The further back he went, the happier the post became. Cole scrolled silently. Mom, Dad, and my parents all went to visit relatives. I slept with Cole last night. He's all grown up, so we can't sleep together anymore soon. I fell asleep biting him. It was so nice. Cole remembered that. She had left faint teeth marks all over him. Cole did great on his exams. I rewarded him with an ice cream bar every day. It's so nice. It makes me want to bite him even more. I think I'm really sick. A girl in Cole's class gave him a love letter. I'm so unhappy. I don't want to sleep with him, but we did anyway. I gnawed on the skin of his shoulder. It felt so good. I'm sick. Cole remembered that girl. He hadn't had a single thought about romance back then. A love letter meant nothing to him. He hadn't heard from her since graduation. But, Jasmine, why did you even write this down? Slept with Cole tonight. I bit his shoulder. He said it hurt. I was so happy. All my stress from school is gone. I might be a little sick. Slept with Cole tonight. I bit his arm. He tried to run. I told him if he dared to run, and he let me bite him. It felt so good. He asked me why I'm always biting him. I told him it's because he used to have to be chewing on me to fall asleep. So embarrassing. I'm going to bite him again tomorrow. Cole felt a flush of shame. Jasmine even remembered that from when they were little kids. That was the last one. He finished reading and logged out of her account, deleting his login information from the browser. He sat there in silence, his mind a chaotic mess of emotions. He thought about Jasmine's suicide in his past life. The timing. It was right when he was acting like a desperate simp for Julia. Back then, he hadn't cared about anything else. He didn't even go home for breaks. It was only after he heard the news of Jasmine's death that he'd finally stopped, falling into a long, deep depression. He'd cried for her. Could it be? Was it possible that it was because he had completely ignored her? In his past life, were there other private posts in her account? If he hadn't read these, he would have never realized the true depth of Jasmine's feelings for him, her unique affection and her quirks. He had always thought it was just doting love, a special fondness. He never imagined it was something so much deeper. Mr. Chun, where are you? Yvonne's voice called from outside. Right here. Be right out. Cole took a deep breath and forced it out. He had to find time to comfort his sister, to take her to a movie, and to have a real talk. He walked out of the conference room and saw Yvonne waiting. She whispered, Luna is looking for you. She seemed really anxious when she couldn't find you. Okay, thanks. I'll go check on her. Watching Cole hurry away, Yvonne felt a flicker of curiosity. Luna couldn't handle Cole being out of sight for 10 minutes. As a woman, she simply couldn't understand it. If it were her, she'd be like, go wherever you want. It's not like you're going to get lost. Inside Suite 1502, the moment Luna saw Cole, the anxious knot in her chest loosened, and her mind instantly settled. She didn't know why she had been so worried. She knew she was on campus, and that he would be back soon. But a sudden, overwhelming anxiety had gripped her, a feeling like she was about to suffocate. Luna, come here, Cole said with a smile, forcing down the emotions that were still churning inside him. Okay, Luna happily trotted over to him. He led her to Suite 1503 and found her a seat. He showed her how to log into the business accounts for both companies, gave her the official finance stamp, and told her the employee information was in her email. For now, the company's accounts were simple, which would give her time to get familiar with everything. Calculating salaries wasn't difficult, though the editorial department's performance-based pay required more attention. Cole gave her an internal admin account with top-level permissions, so she could track the click rates for each article. Luna was a quick study with these concrete tasks, just as she could remember the tea shop's entire inventory by heart. It was a huge relief for Cole. There wasn't a dedicated finance office, so Luna wouldn't have to work fixed hours. They agreed that every Tuesday afternoon would be for reconciliation and reimbursements. She only needed to come in for half a day, making her job the most relaxed in the company. This was intentional on Cole's part. He wanted to give her plenty of time to focus on her studies so she could play an even bigger role in the future. Then, Cole added Luna to the company group chat. When they went downstairs, Luna was no longer so timid. She liked the atmosphere. With Cole, so many friendly colleagues, and meaningful work to do, her life felt incredibly full. The lost and helpless feeling she'd had when she first arrived at Eastwood had completely vanished. Yet, for some reason, a faint unease lingered deep inside her. Walking back to her dorm along the greenway, Luna glanced at Cole, a hint of confusion and worry in her eyes. Is something on your mind? She asked, having keenly sensed that something was off. Huh? No, just thinking about the company. Cole said, startled out his thoughts. He forced a smile. He was still thinking about Jasmine, filled with guilt over his past neglect. Oh, Luna lowered her head, a flicker of disappointment in her eyes. Something was wrong, but he wasn't willing to tell her. That uneasy feeling grew stronger, an indescribable tightness in her chest, like she couldn't breathe. Cole walked on in silence for a moment. Then he felt something was wrong. Something was wrong with Luna. He turned and saw that her face was pale, completely drained of color. He stopped, holding her arm. What's wrong, Lou? It's nothing. Luna bit her lip, her gaze vacant as she stared ahead. Her intuition was screaming at her. After that 10-minute disappearance, Cole had changed. It felt as if the chain connecting them was about to break. It hurt so much. She couldn't breathe. Are you tired? Come on, let's find a place to sit for a bit. Even though his mind was on Jasmine, his concern for Luna was just as real. He took her hand and led her toward a bench by a nearby flower bed. He could feel it. She felt heavier, as if something was weighing down her steps. What's going on? Cole was completely baffled. They sat down on the bench. Luna kept her head down, not saying a word. Lou, did I say something wrong? Cole took her hand and gave it a gentle shake. She still didn't speak. From his angle, he could see tears dripping from her chin onto her jeans. Hey, what's this? Let me see. Cole reached out, cupping her cheek and gently turning her face toward him. Her face was stained with tears, her eyes dull and lifeless, as if her soul had left her body. Cole couldn't figure it out. This was so strange. Nothing had happened. He wiped the tears from her cheeks and said softly, Talk to me. Did someone upset you upstairs? If anyone bullied you, I'll fire them on the spot. No, it's not. That, Luna sobbed, shaking her head. The intense anxiety in her heart was still there. She trusted her intuition, just like she had when she was 15 and felt like someone was watching her. It turned out to be true. A man had tried to block her path on the road, but her senses were sharp, and she'd turned and sprinted away before he could get close. After that, she had started living at the school. This was the same feeling. She had a premonition that Cole was about to leave her. Are you going to leave me? Woo. Cole's body went rigid. Cole had, in fact, been considering it. He'd been thinking about how to properly settle things with Luna and with Serena. The guilt he felt over Jasmine was eating him alive. But how could this girl have guessed? She was crying so hard. All Cole could do was hold her, gently patting her back. He lied through his teeth. Of course not. Where did you get an idea like that? But in his distraction, he'd miscalculated. His words, his actions, they were different from usual. Luna felt it immediately. A wave of grief and despair washed over her, a pain like a knife twisting in her gut. He was going to leave her. It was as if a window that had just opened in the darkness was suddenly slammed shut. Everything in the future was meaningless. This lonely, suffocating world. Maybe it was time to find a different one. Even though she was still in his arms, she felt no warmth. Because it didn't belong to her. She didn't know what had happened, but the connection she felt on a soul-deep level couldn't be wrong. And Cole's reaction couldn't be wrong. He wasn't like this before. His words, his expression, none of it was the same. Her crying suddenly stopped. Cole's heart sank. Luna's gaze was vacant, as if she'd lost her soul. Silence stretched for a few seconds. A tide of heartache flooded Cole, washing over his chaotic thoughts and clearing his head. He snapped to his senses. He had said the wrong thing. The person in his arms was incredibly sensitive, fiercely proud, and very smart. She must have sensed something. He had been a fool. It was like in any relationship. When one person changed, the other could often sense it through their words, their expression, even through pure intuition. It all depended on whether you were willing to lie to yourself. What the hell is wrong with me? Am I getting sentimental again? In his mind, his intrusive thoughts were roaring. What more could you possibly want, you idiot? Do you think this makes you noble? His better nature snapped back coldly. You shameless fool. You sowed this seed, so you have to see it through to harvest. Otherwise, what's the difference between the Luna and Serena of today and the Jasmine of the past? Harming them is evil. If you cause that, you deserve to be cooked 300 times over. For once, his inner demons were in complete agreement, furiously berating him in a dimension where time was measured in microseconds. Cole mentally kicked both of them over. Shut up. I know what I'm doing. In truth, he had only considered the idea. He'd been tempted. But now, seeing Luna's tear-streaked face and her lifeless expression, he didn't dare be sentimental any longer. He was no longer the boy from his past life. He was a man who had been forged in pain and regret. Sticking to his principles was his only way to survive. The fact that he'd only seen those private posts after things had already gone this far, that was fate. He had to accept it. Any other action would just create more trouble, more pain. Now that he was back before Jasmine's tragedy, all he had to do was cherish her, take care of her, and love her. Whatever she wanted, he would give her. If she wanted to bite him, he'd let her bite him however she pleased. He had pulled Luna out of the water himself. One misstep, and he could be the one to push her back in. And Serena, who had been a perfectly sweet and normal girl, had been turned into a clingy, pining mess by him. If he suddenly changed on her, what would happen? So, he had to follow the path fate had laid out for him and enjoy a happy life. In that instant, Cole abandoned all thoughts that were detrimental to his new life. He made up his mind. He would be resolute. He would become a man of great, all-encompassing love. In his mind, it was an epic struggle. In reality, only a few seconds had passed. While Luna was still resting on his shoulder, Cole scooped her up and settled her in his lap. Luna didn't move, but her eyelashes fluttered. For some reason, the knot in her chest loosened just a little. But she still didn't want to talk to him. "Hey Lou, don't be sad. I really was just thinking about company stuff. I'm sorry I let my mood affect you," Cole said, shamelessly inventing an excuse. He puckered his lips and planted 3 loud kisses on her cheek. Mwah, mwah, mwah. A little salty. Thankfully, there were few students near the Venture Lab building. It was open and quiet, but they still attracted some attention. A group of 4 guys and 1 girl walking by a few dozen yards away all turned to look, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and annoyance. Who is this guy, making out in broad daylight? Have some shame. It's bad for the morale of us single people. Cole glanced up, then lowered his head again, unconcerned. Luna was still silent, her eyes half closed, her lashes fluttering occasionally. "Still not talking to me? Then I'm going to have to keep kissing you." Cole grinned mischievously, leaned in, and lashed his lips onto her soft cheek. Mwah! So tender, so fragrant. This was the taste he wanted. The clouds parted. Cole, the shameless flirt, was back. Luna still kept her eyes half closed, but a little color had returned to her cheeks. Seeing that she wasn't stopping him, Cole swallowed hard and leaned down to kiss her tender cheek again. Mwah! Her rosy little mouth was right there in front of him. He wanted so badly to capture it. But not yet. He knew his Jasmine. Her lips were off limits for now. But her eyes were fair game, right? And her nose. Cole didn't care anymore. He didn't care that people were watching from a distance. A rain of kisses fell on her face. Mwah! 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 At first, Luna could pretend not to care, but after 7 or 8 kisses, she buried her face in his shoulder, her neck blushing red. This was the first time Cole had been so brazenly affectionate. In broad daylight, with people right over there, couldn't he wait until they were alone? Luna's eyelashes fluttered rapidly. The oppressive, suffocating despair vanished, replaced by a clear sky. The feeling from him was different now. She could sense even more affection than before. This was the right flavor. Seeing her return to her usual shy self, Cole let out a sigh of relief. As long as her mood changed, it meant she was okay. The girl in his lap was substantial solid. The kind of build that, according to old wives' tales, was good for bearing sons. Yes, this whole empire is mine, Cole thought with a serious expression. My finance manager. Shouldn't I take her to see my home? There's a soft sofa there. And air conditioning. Yes, he would make his move in the next few days. The body in his arms trembled. Her face flushed crimson. Cole had always felt his tastes were quite pure. He loved snowy white feet, natural D-cups, long legs, a slender waist, and a bountiful landscape. As long as it was beautiful, he loved it. And right now, he had 3 different kinds of beauty. Wonderful. Simply wonderful. Cole smacked his lips. Seeing that Luna was still silent, he gave her bottom a light pat and whispered in her ear, "Lou, let's go out for hot pot in a few days. And then I'll take you somewhere." After a few seconds, her cherry-red lips moved, and a soft, girlish voice emerged. Okay. He could smell her gentle breath, sweet like fruit candy. Cole lowered his head and touched the tip of her nose with his, taking the opportunity to inhale her scent twice. It was so good. Jasmine and Serena smelled wonderful too, just different. Serena had a milky scent, and Jasmine's was a light, fresh fragrance. It was a sign that all 3 of them were clean, healthy, and had regular cycles. With a crisis averted, Cole transformed back into CEO Chun. A CEO, however, whose hands are getting a little frisky on his finance manager's backside. "Lou, you don't have to go to the Tea Alchemist anymore if you don't want to. If I don't have studying to do at night, I'll go. And I'll go on weekends. I'd just be sitting around anyway," Luna said, trying to hide her face and pretend she didn't feel the hand creeping around. "All right, it's up to you. Just don't get too tired. Focus on your classes. Your education is especially important. I'm counting on you in the future. Cole, the chronic class skipper, lectured her shamelessly. Okay. Luna's face grew even redder, her eyes shimmering. That phrase, I'm counting on you, burrowed into her heart, warming her from the inside out until she completely forgot she had been crying just moments before. Seeing that she had recovered, Cole breathed a sigh of relief. He had been genuinely afraid she was going to have a breakdown. He wasn't worried about bringing her into the company or adding her to the group chat. He knew what he was doing. Jasmine was disciplined and proper, and Luna was cautious and discreet. Neither would cause any problems. This was the first step of his master plan. Only Serena wasn't ready to join the company. She didn't care where they were. She'd launch herself at him on sight. But there was still plenty of time. Serena's law major required a huge amount of studying. Come on, I'll walk you back to your dorm. Okay. Reluctantly, Luna stood up from his lap. She felt incredibly awkward, not knowing what to do with herself. After crying like that, being kissed, and having her butt touched, her deepest defenses had completely crumbled. Now, out of his arms, it felt like stepping out of a safe house into the open. She didn't even know where to put her hands. When Cole's arm wrapped around her waist again, she instantly felt grounded, and the awkwardness slowly faded. After walking Luna back, Cole headed for Suite 1503. He felt uneasy if he didn't check the data every day. On the way, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, surprised. It was Serena. Why was she calling instead of texting? Class just get out? He asked with a smile. Hey Cole, where are you? Serena's voice sounded a little distressed. I'm near the venture lab. Oh, what's wrong? It's just, I was in class just now, and I got this really anxious feeling. I just wanted to talk to you. Is your period coming? Cole teased, though a different, wilder thought crossed his mind. No, it was just a few days ago. I felt like you were about to disappear or something. My heart started racing. Cole froze. Was it really that uncanny? First Luna, and now Serena. They could both sense it. Luna he could understand. She was right there with him and could have picked up on his mood. But how could Serena know? Did she have psychic powers? How could that happen? Did you not sleep well last night? I slept great. It was just during class. I feel better now. Maybe it's because I haven't seen you in a few days and I miss you. How much do you miss me? So much, she said, her voice a sweet, playful cascade of so muches. I miss you too, Cole said, genuinely moved. Cole, yeah, I want you to know, wherever you go, I'll follow. What if my startup fails and I'm dirt poor? Are you going to follow me onto the streets? He chuckled. Yep, I'll hold the cane, you'll hold the bowl, and we'll go beg for money from my uncle. If they don't give us any, I'll just lie on the ground and refuse to get up, Serena giggled. Huh, they'd definitely kick me out. So what? We'll go get jobs. I'll be a lawyer, you'll be a financial analyst, and we'll save up to start another business. Cole's heart swelled. It was like the beginning of every love story, where the future was a beautiful, shining fantasy. Some of them made it, and some of them shattered. What happened in the future didn't matter. The fact that Serena felt this way was enough to move him deeply. This was 1,000,000 times better than the queen of the fish pond. Don't worry, we won't be begging. I'll work hard to take care of you. MHM, and I'll take care of you too. They finally hung up when Serena had to go to her next class. Looks like I really do have to walk this path of great love with all my heart, thought Cole the greedy. Over the next couple of days, Headline Today's growth accelerated. Thanks to the relentless efforts of the promotions team, the site had spread across 10 universities. It was rare to find a student who hadn't heard of it. It was fun, interesting, and full of attractive guys and girls. There were tons of articles, real, fabricated, serious, and funny. Every time you refreshed the feed, something you were interested in would pop up. News, current events, and the latest updates from each university, including dorm gossip. Of course, the policy updates were mostly for show. Who had time to read that? But it had to be there, just in case a student needed information without having to track down their RA or a student government rep. Cole specifically told Yvonne to do whatever she could to show the student governments and university administrations the value of Headline Today, hoping to get them to register official accounts. He wasn't in a hurry to monetize. First, he needed to stabilize and expand to more schools. For the campuses they'd already covered, he wanted to let the user base settle and deepen. His current costs, aside from equipment, were just salaries and utilities, which he could easily handle. However, it was time for the Tea Alchemist to claim an ad spot on the site, laying the groundwork for his next move. The next day, Cole brought the editorial team to the original Tea Alchemist shop. He wanted them to have a coffee or tea to get a feel for the brand. He split off 2 journalism majors from the editorial department to form a new advertising and marketing team. One guy, one girl, they were more interested in advertising anyway. He then hired new people to backfill Fiona's editorial team. The reason he brought the editors was for the next phase of his promotion plan. He needed them to write ad copy for the models. 2 days later, the copy for the photo shoot was ready. The campus belles from Face Power once again received an invitation from Mr. Chen to shoot some promotional photos. The compensation was $50 and a 7-day free pass to the Tea Alchemist, good for 2 drinks of their choice per day, and their photos would be posted all over their respective campuses. With an offer like that, of course the girls would come. 12 showed up. Some who lived farther away or had scheduling conflicts didn't make it. Or maybe they just didn't think it was worth their time. After all, some came from wealthy families, and plenty had already been swept up by rich second-generation kids in luxury cars. 12 was more than enough. Honestly, the best models would have been Jasmine, Serena, and Luna. But Cole would never let their pictures be plastered all over campus. Cora and Julia from Eastwood University were both there. It was a chance to earn money and get closer to Cole. What was not to like? The two of them weren't as close as they used to be, now that they were both chasing the same goal. But when they arrived at the Tea Alchemist, they discovered that the advertising department was running the shoot. Cole was nowhere to be seen. They were both deeply disappointed. The finished photos were brought back to the Headline Today office for everyone to review. Each girl's photo was slated for her own campus, where her influence would be greatest. Then, the best photos from each girl were compiled for a feature on the Headline Today homepage. Just as Cole was finalizing the plan, his phone rang. It was Jasmine. "Sis, Cole, I'm going out to dinner with Alex tonight. Come with me." "Got it, sis." Cole had been wanting to talk to Jasmine anyway. After work, he headed straight for Eastwood Tech. He arrived at their meeting spot and, as was customary, waited 20 minutes. The two women emerged. Today, Jasmine was wearing a long, white down jacket over a cozy apricot-colored cashmere sweater, with slim-fit jeans and ankle-high apricot boots. Her hair was pulled up into a high, neat bun. Her delicate, lovely face held a serene expression. But the moment she saw Cole, it was as if the ice melted, replaced by a brilliant smile. Beside her, Alex was in a pink down jacket. By normal standards, she was pretty, but next to Jasmine, she looked rather plain. "Sis." A warmth spread through Cole's chest. He smiled and greeted her, bracing himself for what was to come. "My hands are cold." Jasmine held out her hands, walked up to her brother, and slipped them under the hem of his jacket. A soft, icy touch pressed against Cole's supposed 8-pack abs. His expression didn't change. His heart was as still as water. He was used to it. He was her personal winter hand warmer. "Let me try," Alex said, her face lighting up as she reached out. "Hey, no way. This is my exclusive heater," Jasmine said, stingily refusing her best friend. "Seriously, it's not like a piece of you is going to fall off," Alex grumbled. She was growing more and more curious about Cole. To have Jasmine this attached to him was simply unbelievable. At least, she couldn't understand it. Sure, he had a tea shop and a new website, but he was still a far cry from the sons of wealthy families. And plenty of those rich kids were handsome, too. Logically, given Jasmine's family background, she should be looking for someone in a similar position. But Jasmine wasn't interested in any of them. It was bizarre. Still, she had to admire Cole's ability to remain completely unfazed with a pair of icy hands pressed against his stomach. And since he was her best friend's good little brother, she naturally felt a sense of closeness to him as well. The three of them hailed a cab and went to the gallery, a nearby shopping plaza. When Cole heard the name, he was both surprised and suddenly ravenous. That place wasn't cheap. It was one of the more high-end spots in the area. He didn't care who they were meeting. He wasn't paying. Free food was free food. Alex led them up to the 8th floor to a Japanese restaurant called Kurahashi House. It was an old, established brand. In his past life, Cole had often taken clients there, though he'd never quite gotten used to the food. "Irashimasu." Two hostesses greeted them warmly. Their party clearly hadn't arrived yet. The restaurant was only sparsely filled. A hostess led them to a table for 6. Alex sat on the innermost side and waved. "Come on, little brother, sit here." She meant for Cole to sit in the middle. "What are you thinking?" "His name is Cole," Jasmine said, rolling her eyes as she slid into the seat herself. Cole sat down on the outside, next to his sister. "I give up. Your brother is my brother, isn't he? And besides, he's a guy, of course he should sit in the middle," Alex said, twisting the logic. She was just trying to tease her friend. "Don't even try. He can only be my brother," Jasmine shot back, unyielding, as if it were a matter of inviolable principle. Then she tilted her head, a strange light in her eyes and a slight curl to her lips as she looked at Cole. "Right, Cole. Right, sis. Oh my God. I can't take you too," Alex said, completely exasperated. She suspected Jasmine had some kind of psychological issue. She'd heard this brother and sister had been like this since they were kids. How did they not get sick of each other? They declined the barley tea, and the waiter brought a pitcher of lemon water. Cole listened as Jasmine and Alex chatted. Apparently, Alex had met a sophomore from the University of Engineering and Technology online, and they'd added each other on Facebook Messenger. They'd been chatting for a while. This was their first time meeting in person. At that moment, a different thought occurred to Cole. This person had invited Alex to dinner in a nice place like this, but was arriving late. What did that signify? It likely meant the person saw themselves as superior, looking down on Alex. Otherwise, the guy should be the one waiting for the girl. I hope this dinner goes smoothly, Cole sighed internally. He really didn't want to waste time on trivial matters. He'd much rather finish eating and go for a walk with Jasmine. He heard Jasmine ask, "Did you guys originally plan to eat here?" No. At first, he suggested the Elysian Hotel, but I thought it was too far. So we decided on this place. Cole's interest was piqued. The Elysian Hotel. That was a high-end place, both a hotel and a restaurant. Was this some rich kid trying to reel in a girl with a fancy meal? He listened as Alex talked more about the person. There was no mention of flaunting wealth and no inappropriate comments. During their conversation, Alex messaged the person their table number. Just as the two women were talking, two people walked up to their table. "Hello." Cole looked up. It was a man and a woman, both in their early 20s. They were dressed lavishly, dripping with gold and jewelry, and wearing fur. The man was not tall, with very short hair and unnaturally red lips. He raised a hand in a smiling greeting. He looked first at Alex. "Sorry, traffic was bad. We're a little late." His voice was somewhat androgynous. "It's okay," Alex replied with a reserved smile. Then, the man's eyes fell on Jasmine, and they instantly lit up. He nodded with a smile. "Hello." "Hello," Jasmine replied with a faint smile. When the man's eyes passed over Cole, he gave a slight, dismissive nod. The two of them sat down across the table. The woman with him was also attractive, wearing heavy makeup, her lips as red as a baboon's ass. "Ignored again? And you're checking out my sister?" Cole cursed inwardly, his face a mask of calm. If this guy dared to hit on her, he was getting a dollop of wasabi shoved in his mouth. However, as he studied the person, he noticed something strange. The voice was androgynous, which was normal enough, but there was no Adam's apple. That was also possible. Some men didn't have a prominent one. But when this person picked up a glass, they held it with a delicate, pinky-out gesture. And under the open fur coat, beneath the black cashmere sweater, there was a slight bulge. Holy crap, is this a woman? Cole wondered. He'd seen plenty of this type online in his past life, usually running some kind of pyramid scheme. Always a CEO of something or other. At least, that's how they presented themselves. "Let me formally introduce myself. My name is Jordan Liu," the person said, pulling out an exquisite business card case. They took out 2 cards, handing the first to Alex. "I'm the humble owner of a few bars around the University District." Then, they handed another card to Jasmine. As for Cole, he got nothing. Cole wasn't offended. He was more interested in figuring out if this person was a man or a woman. But he'd caught the implication. If they really owned several bars, it meant they had some pull in the area. You couldn't operate otherwise. Alex introduced herself as well. Jasmine had no intention of speaking. "Alex," Jordan began, already using her first name, but looking at Jasmine, "and this is—" "You could just call me Ms. Young," Jasmine said with a slight curl of her lips. The person had slighted Cole, and she was already displeased. If it weren't for Alex, she would have already stood up to leave. Afraid her brother would be upset, she reached under the table and squeezed his hand gently. Cole, of course, understood his sister's thoughts. He took the opportunity to tickle her palm, and then let his fingers wander freely. So soft, so slender. Awesome. Yow. A sharp pain shot through his inner thigh. A layer of skin and flesh had been pinched and twisted. It hurt so much he almost dropped his glass. Alex and Jordan Liu started chat. They learned that Jordan was a broadcast and television production major from here in Rockford. "This is my bestie," Jordan said, jerking their head toward the woman beside them. "Lynn, say hi." "Hello." The woman named Lynn finally spoke. She gave them a cool, sweeping glance, her expression somewhere between arrogant and indifferent. Her eyes paused on Cole's face for about 0.3 seconds before moving on, clearly uninterested. Jasmine and Alex exchanged slightly odd looks. Bestie? A man's bestie. Cole, however, was now even more certain. This was almost definitely a woman. He decided to test his theory. "Ms. Liu," he said, "what kind of bars do you own? Maybe we could stop by for a visit sometime." The address stunned everyone at the table. Jasmine shot her brother a confused look. Jordan's gaze sharpened, a look of wary suspicion in their eyes. "Do you know me?" The woman Lynn also looked up from her phone, a playful glint in her eyes. "Juice mit you. Why? Are we not welcome?" Cole feigned surprise. "Oh no, it's not that. I just thought you might have seen me before." The wariness in Jordan's eyes faded, but the confusion remained. "Of course you can. I have a music lounge near Eastwood University." "A lounge bar?" Cole pressed. "Yes." "Huh, you seem to know your stuff." Jordan chuckled, a flicker of curiosity in their eyes now. Cole just smiled and didn't reply, enduring the searing pain in his thigh under the table. He figured they'd ask him later how he knew about lounge bars. This person probably wanted something from Alex, and might even be gay. "Nope, I'm not eating this meal. I'm taking my sister and leaving." Alex had caught on by now. The online friend she'd been chatting with was a woman. What kind of sick game was this? She was being played. Her expression turned sour. "Jordan, is there something you want to talk about?" "Oh, haha, no, just a simple meal, making a new friend," Jordan said with a forced laugh. "Ms. Lou, you might as well just be direct. Let's see if we can find some common ground," Cole said bluntly, cutting through the pretense to save time. It was a good thing it was a lounge bar. If it had been a nightclub, he would have left immediately. That would have spelled trouble 100%. The atmosphere turned awkward. Jasmine knew exactly what was happening, but she couldn't be bothered to speak. Her brother could handle it. Alex had completely lost interest. What was there to talk about? All right then. I do have something I wanted to discuss." Jordan's eyes swept over the three of them, finally landing on Cole. They had realized that this boy was now running the show. "Alex, I didn't mean to hide it from you. This is just my personality. I really did just want to have a meal with you." Then, Jordan revealed their true purpose. "And I wanted to invite you to bring your dance team to perform at my bar. The pay will be the highest in the industry, I guarantee it." Lounge bars usually hired solo singers, but competition had been fierce lately. After learning that Alex was on the jazz dance team, and had even done commercial performances, Jordan had gotten this idea. Of course, they had other motives too, like making a new bestie, maybe even having sleepovers. Or perhaps, the initial idea was to make a best friend, and the performance invitation was just a bonus. Now, seeing that Alex had brought such a stunning friend, their mind was racing with even more possibilities. "Sorry, I don't perform in bars. Not even lounge bars," Alex said, waving her hand and refusing flatly. Performing at a mall opening was one thing. It was public and respectable. But a bar? She was a student at a top-tier university. It wasn't like she needed the money to survive. If word got out, she'd lose all respect on campus. Many students who didn't go to bars couldn't even tell the difference between a lounge and a nightclub. Think about it. 8 to 10 p.m. 2 dances. $1,000. Jordan said magnanimously, holding up one finger, a large, seal-like gold ring on their knuckle. "It's not about the money. We can't do it. You should find someone else," Alex insisted, shaking her head. She was kicking herself for even coming here. Seeing this, Jordan looked helpless and confused. She wouldn't even do it for $1,000? A singer only made $200 or $300 a night. Their gaze lingered on Jasmine's face. If she could perform, it would blow the roof off the place. Finally, their eyes landed on Cole. "Bro, $1,000 isn't chump change. Talk some sense into her. Isn't this better than some part-time job?" They could see that this boy and the beautiful girl were together. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sitting so close. "You're thinking too small," Cole said with a mysterious smile. "I was just about to invite her to register an account on Headline today to promote her dance team, boost their popularity, and I'm even going to sponsor one of their events." Headline Today? Jordan was taken aback. They'd heard of it, but had never used it. Just another website. They weren't interested. They didn't even use a blog. "Little brother, you're going to sponsor us? For real?" Alex turned her head, her eyes wide with surprise as she looked at Cole. She had registered on Headline Today, just for fun. She'd never thought about using it for promotion. "His name is Cole." Jasmine snapped, swatting her friend's shoulder. "Hey, seriously, what's the big deal? I give up on you." Alex was speechless. Her friend was so touchy about that nickname. Was it really that important? After Jasmine had quit the dance team, Alex had become a captain. She was always looking for performance opportunities. They not only brought in money for the team members, but also tested their choreography and boosted their confidence. "That's right. I'm planning to host a dance competition, inviting representatives from all the campus dance teams. First prize is $3,000, Cole announced, revealing his plan on the spot. He'd been planning a promotional event, wavering between music and dance. To expand Headline Today's influence, he needed to spend some money on marketing. In that moment, he made his decision. It had to be dance. The visual appeal was more direct, more impactful, and more likely to get people talking. He had another motive, too, to get Jordan Lou's attention. Lounge bars had a hard time competing with nightclubs. They served two completely different crowds, but they were perfectly suited for promotion on Headline Today. Your Headline Today is yours. Jordan was genuinely surprised. The person in front of them didn't look like a serious entrepreneur. They didn't look like a tech person, and they certainly didn't look rich. I am, humbly, the founder of Headline Today, Cole said with a smile, mimicking their earlier tone. Too bad he didn't have a shiny business card to hand out. The title founder was a dime a dozen in his past life, but it was still a fresh concept now. My respects, my respects, Jordan said, clasping their fists in a martial arts-style gesture. They believed him. This kind of thing would come out eventually. It was easy to verify. Likewise, likewise, Cole returned the gesture, hiding a smirk. This butch woman must have watched too many Hong Kong movies. I thought you were sponsoring me. Turns out it's a competition. Alex sighed. Well, if you're not interested, I don't have to invite you. I plan on inviting dance teams from 12 universities, with a few dance professors and administrators as judges, Cole said with a look of feigned regret. The winner gets the $3,000 prize, and all of Headline Today's promotional partnerships with local businesses will go to the first-place team as a priority. With appearance fees, of course. Little brother, Alex cried out, jumping to her feet. She tried to reach over Jasmine to grab Cole's arm. You can't do this to me. I'm your sister's best friend. Her ride or die. And I'm going to make promotional posters for the winning team and feature them on the Headline Today homepage, so all our users will know who they are, Cole added with a grin, fanning the flames. He was already biased toward Jasmine's old team, but if Alex was going to be so pessimistic, he had no choice. Jasmine firmly blocked the hand reaching for him. She threatened, if you call him little brother one more time, you're out. Her brother was hers, and only she could call him that. Jordan Liu had been watching quietly. They still weren't very interested in Headline Today, but they were interested in the dance competition. Lounge bars catered to students. The only question was whether this kid could pull it off. It could easily start with a bang and end with a whimper. So they decided to wait and see. Alex, Cole said, addressing her more formally now, if you really want to win, you should pick your best routine and start rehearsing. Try to be innovative. I'm starting preparations tomorrow morning. The competition will be in about 15 to 20 days. The timeline was tight. 15 days was barely enough time to practice. The quality of the dance itself wasn't the most important thing. What he wanted was the buzz. Okay, I'll tell everyone tonight. Alex beamed. She understood what Cole was implying. He would specifically invite her team to represent Eastwood Tech, saving them from internal battle. Ms. Liu, shall we order? I'm starving, Cole said, taking charge and quietly replacing Alex as the semi-host. He didn't rush to invite Jordan to join the event. Haste makes waste. It was better to wait for them to bring it up themselves. All right, waiter. Jordan waved a hand, their mind already churning, trying to figure out how to become best friends with these two beautiful women. However, during the meal, they realized their hopes were slim. The girl named Jasmine and the boy named Cole were practically conjoined twins. The restaurant had wasted a set of chopsticks. The boy didn't even need to lift his. The girl would pick up a slice of salmon, dip it in wasabi and soy sauce, and feed it directly into his mouth. The other three at the table could only stare, dumbfounded. It was like she was taking care of a child. Was this really necessary? Cole shamelessly and calmly enjoyed his sister's pampering while chatting with Jordan about lounge bars and nightclubs. Jasmine, in front of outsiders, would care for him without reservation, but she didn't notice the dangerous glint in her own eyes when she heard him mention nightclubs. By the end of the meal, Alex had become a side character. Jordan, on the other hand, had gained a measure of respect for Cole. The boy had some insightful ideas. He might not be an expert on liquor, but his business sense was impressive. Before they parted ways, Jordan slipped Cole a business card with their number on it. As for becoming best friends, they hadn't given up. There was still time. Maybe an opportunity would arise later. The five of them went downstairs together. Cole politely declined Jordan's offer of a ride, and Jasmine, and Alex got off the elevator on the first floor. Jordan and the quiet Lynn went down to the third sub-level parking garage. As a well-known local mall, the plaza outside was bustling with people. Jasmine, are we heading back to school? Alex asked, glancing at her friend. Jasmine looked at Cole. Sis, let's go see a movie, Cole said. He wanted to make it up to Jasmine. He couldn't bring it up upstairs, in case that butch woman decided to tag along. Okay, Jasmine agreed happily. Alex, how about I get you a cab back to campus? Cole said to her with a smile. No way. Are you trying to get rid of me? I'm playing third wheel tonight, that's final. Wherever you go, I go. What if I get kidnapped by bad guys on my way back alone? Alex latched onto them. She had nowhere else to go anyway. It was better to hang out with them. The closer she got, the better. It wasn't like they were going to get a hotel room, right? Alex, that's not a good idea, is it? Cole was speechless. Why did she have to tag along? Forget it, Cole. Let's just go together, Jasmine said. They've been good friends for 3 years. She couldn't just kick her out. That would hurt their friendship. Fine. I'll buy the tickets, you buy the popcorn. Cole relented, since Jasmine had spoken. Stingy. I'll just eat Jasmine's, Alex retorted, nearly dying of indignation. She'd never met someone who kept score like that. As if he wouldn't buy popcorn for Jasmine. The three of them went back up to the 4th-floor movie theater in the gallery and bought 3 tickets for the Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. In the end, Cole bought the popcorn and drinks. Unfortunately, the theater was quite crowded. In the darkness, Cole played with Jasmine's small, smooth hand. She tried to pull it back a few times, but he wouldn't let go. After pinching him a few times, she finally relented and let him play with it. Halfway through the movie, Jasmine took her brother's wrist and bit down. Sometimes hard, sometimes light. Sometimes she would just hold a small bit of skin between her teeth and grind them back and forth. Cole sucked in a sharp breath through his teeth. But he was used to it. It was his sister's version of popcorn. Beside them, Alex caught a glimpse of this in the flickering light from the screen. Her eyes twitched. What was wrong with Jasmine? When the movie ended, none of the three had any idea what they had just watched. Who was the main character? No clue. They were back downstairs at the gallery, and it was already 10 o'clock. The night wind was a bit chilly, but their hearts were warm. Cole, feeling a surge of energy, hatched a devious plan. Alex, you should head back. My sister and I are going somewhere to talk about something. Jasmine's face was a mask of calm, but her heart was pounding. She knew where her brother wanted to take her. If they went. Nope. Tonight, I'm protecting Jasmine. Wherever she goes, I go. Alex shook her head firmly. Her curiosity was piqued 1,000,000 times over. She had to see what Jasmine was up to tonight. This was a show she couldn't miss. Maybe she could write a book, The Strange Love Habits of the Campus Queen. It could be a bestseller. This, Cole seethed internally. How could she be so clueless? He shot desperate glances at his sister. She understood, but she looked at her friend with a helpless expression. Just as she was about to try and persuade her, Alex put on a pitiful face. I promise I won't bother you, okay? Look how late it is. By the time I get back, the dorms will be locked. I'm so pathetic. Can't you just take me in? Late? It was only 10. Cole was fuming. He never should have let her come to the movie. But he knew from Jasmine that Alex had been her good friend since freshman year, and was a decent person. He trusted his sister's judgment. She would never have befriended her otherwise. He'd never seen Jasmine hanging out with those girls, Wendy and Beth. So he couldn't say anything too harsh. Jasmine leaned close to her brother's ear. Did you buy blankets for the guest room? What? Was his sister going to bring her? Cole felt a sharp pain in his chest. How was this going to work? What if the two women slept together? What about his grand, devious plan? I did, yeah. His sister had asked, and he'd answered truthfully before he could stop himself. He immediately regretted it. He had indeed bought extra sets because they were on sale. He'd even had the cleaning lady wash and dry them, all in preparation for his grand enterprise. Ahem. Then let's go. We can all head back to school together tomorrow. Jasmine reached her hand inside her brother's jacket, twisted a bit of flesh at his waist, and shot him a sideways glance. You jerk. Thinking bad, thoughts again. When the taxi pulled up in front of the Golden Bay residences, Alex was shocked. This was a rather grand place to be getting a room. She had assumed they were going to a hotel where she and Jasmine would share a double room, and someone would sneak out in the middle of the night. She'd even imagined them getting just one room, and someone sneaking into the other bed. She would be forced to listen to the noises as she tried to sleep. Now it seemed she had been overthinking things. When they entered apartment C, 2201, and Cole said he'd bought it, Alex was even more surprised. This area wasn't cheap. There's hot water for a shower, Cole said, then pointed to the closet in the guest room. There are clean sheets and blankets on the top shelf. He was looking at Alex, his meaning clear. That is where you belong. Unfortunately, Alex pretended not to understand. She pulled Jasmine toward the guest room. Jasmine, let's go make the bed. Jasmine followed, her feelings a complex tangle. She was too embarrassed to say what was on her mind, especially in front of her best friend. With an extra person around, Cole's plan to have a heart-to-heart was ruined. He took a hot shower to clear his head, then slipped into bed in the master bedroom, playing on his phone and listening to the sounds outside. It seemed like Jasmine was taking a shower. That other woman wasn't even washing up. She was probably just uncomfortable in a strange place. Cole replied to a few messages from Serena. There was no response. She was probably already asleep. Her law classes often started at 8 a.m. It was normal for her to have a full schedule all week. Law and medicine were both mentally draining majors, ranking second in the rate of premature balding. First place went to computer science. No, I have to buy Serena some supplements later. That beautiful black hair of hers must be protected. He heard the soft shuffle of slippers. It must be Jasmine, finished with her shower. The footsteps went into the guest room. The door closed, and Cole's heart shattered. Sigh. No chance. The night deepened, and the city quieted down. In the guest room, why are you tossing and turning so much? It's cold, Alex grumbled. The blanket was being kicked around, letting in drafts of cold air. I'm a little itchy. I'm probably just not used to the new blanket, Jasmine muttered. You mean your heart is itchy? Alex scoffed. Her best friend had a man now and was already turning on her. She deliberately poked. Just go be with your little brother. You're probably not going to sleep otherwise. There was a moment of silence. Just as Alex thought her friend would finally settle down, she heard Jasmine's weak voice. I'm just going to check on him. He sometimes kicks off the covers in his sleep. Are you kidding me? Alex felt her brain split in two. Hypocrite. If you want to go, just go. Why do you have to pretend and come in here first? Jasmine threw back the covers and got up, too guilty to look her friend in the face. She threw on a robe. I'm just going to check. You go to sleep. Jasmine gently opened the door and closed it carefully behind her, leaving a lonely Alex staring at the ceiling, speechless. In the living room, Jasmine twisted the doorknob to the master bedroom. It opened easily. She tiptoed inside, closing the door just as quietly behind her. She didn't know if her brother was asleep or not. She really was just checking to see if he was covered. Really, with the blackout curtains drawn, the room was dark. She could only faintly make out the shape of the bed. Jasmine walked step by step to the bedside. Okay, he's covered. He seemed to be asleep. What should she do? Go back. Her heart was pounding. She wanted to slip into the covers, but she was a little embarrassed. They'd slept together since they were kids, but he was grown up now. What if he didn't want it anymore? What if? Jasmine was torn. Just then, Cole rolled over, turning his back to her and kicking the covers off, exposing half his body to the cold air. He really did kick them off. He must be asleep. Jasmine quickly knelt on the bed to cover him up. Suddenly, the person on the bed turned, and arms wrapped around her, pulling her down onto her chest. Ah! Jasmine cried out, trying to push herself up. Hey, Cole, I was just covering you. I know, sis. The darkness hid the wicked grin on Cole's face. He had heard the guest room door open as clear as day, and when he heard his own bedroom door open, his spirits had soared. Cole, wait. My slippers. Jasmine gasped, her heart racing as she kicked off her slippers. But inside, she was happy. It was clear her brother wanted her there. She hadn't slept with him like this in so long, just talking until they fell asleep. She missed it dearly. Cole was, of course, overjoyed.